right here constantly. He keeps me on track. All right, so reverse engineering. We've had strong requests from both Matt and Darren for training on reverse engineering. How is it? How do we do it? How does it work? So we will do that. Matt, I may just do a live reverse engineering with you while we're here on the call so that everyone can get a taste of that and you can get huge value there. Matt, I also want to have a conversation with you, and soon we need to find a time that works for both of us so that we can discuss getting that deeper fire and motivation coming from that different angle. There's certain of us that come from this deep pain and drive from within, and not having that could be quite interesting. So let's have a conversation about that soon. So Marci, the thing I just said, they've requested, a couple people have requested some training on reverse engineering.
Okay.
So we can throw that down in a little while. We've also got several requests for Facebook Messenger and converting it from, you know, a lead or a person who's interested who raised their hand to having that powerful messenger conversation and converting that into a sell or a sales conversation. The next thing on the list was time management. We've got some requests around that, so we can go into that when we get there. Also requests for listening skills and working with relationships. And then Matt Ritchie, I think, requested what's my breakthrough process. So Matt, many people just have one process and they roll with it. I've been doing this for so long that I probably have 100 processes. And I kind of just, that's kind of like I have a toolbox. That'd be like asking a mechanic, wait, what tool do you use to work on cars? Like I have this big ass toolbox and I use 100 of them. But I can teach you some things around that, and over time just pay attention to various processes that we do at our live events and here, and you'll learn more and more breakthrough processes. But I'll cover some stuff on that today. Brian Erickson talked about, you know, how do you get out of, I don't remember exactly what your wording was, like you had this pressure and you got basically in a drift. So really we want to cover some drift shift stuff with you. Brian, did you watch, yeah, flat tires, okay, so Brian, did you watch the training video that's like the 4 stages of life, talks about to me, as me, by me, to me, through me, and drift, shift, and all of that? You did watch it? Okay, so it's going to be along those lines, but we can cover some more of that here today and answer any questions you have. And then Morris, you asked about resistance. How do you overcome resistance when you know something really needs to be done, but the resistance is strong and you just can't seem to get yourself to do it? So we'll probably use wonder questions as the tool to get past that. So we'll go from there. Marci, do you want to start with anything on any of those? Do you want me to roll with something else?
Roll with it, brother. I'll fill in.
Okay. All right, Matt. Let's reverse engineer. Let's talk about money for you. Let's reverse engineer money. You could even, like a lot of people, when they make a business plan for their business, they make out this big-ass detailed description of how they're going to build their business and all of that. And really, my favorite business plan I ever did was just really simple, reverse engineer the finances. So, Matt, how much money, I know you don't have this huge why yet right now that's driving you to accomplish big-ass things or whatever on some levels, but tell me, how much money would you like to make this year in the next 12 months? So go ahead and unmute yourself. Let's have a conversation on this one because it's going to be helpful for everybody.
All right, can you hear me?
Yes.
Cool. The visualization I've been doing since the beginning of the year, I used to always just make round numbers, and it was around 100,000, but I've been envisioning $108,645.
Nice. So you would like to make $108,645 this year?
Yes.
Perfect. And right now, are you doing group coaching or one-on-one or both?
Currently, I'm only doing a couple one-on-one.
Okay, a couple one-on-ones. And what would you like to? How would you like to facilitate your ideal world? Would you do some group and some one-on-one?
Yeah,
Or just
I've been opening up.
one-on-one, or just group, or what would it look like?
Well, since coming onto the program here and kind of seeing how you have everything structured, I'm really enjoying the structure you have and the group dynamics you're creating. So that's giving me a good vision of creating a group, maybe a couple different groups that are different price ranges.
Okay, and have you had some insight and inspiration about what price ranges you might be charging?
Yeah, I have a 4-month program that I want to put people through that would either be $750 a month, which would be $3,000, or just $2,500 up front.
$750 a month,
And then
or $2,500 up front.
correct. And then I want to put together, similar to what you're doing, a mastermind of a smaller group, which would be 5 to 10 people, where it would be $1,000 a month or $10,000 up front for the year.
So 5 to 10 people. Yeah, mastermind format. How much?
$10,000 up front or $1,000 a month.
Okay. And the 4-month, is this a 12-month program then?
The second one, yes, would be a year long.
And then the 4-month is just 4 months, but are they the same offering or are they different?
They're different. Yeah.
Okay, what's the difference between the two?
The difference is the 4-month one will go through my 4 pillars, each month focusing on one pillar, and the year-long is going to be similar to what you're doing here, where it's more of a mastermind business and holistically all-encompassing.
Okay, so the 4-month, they'll have a month of one pillar and a month of another pillar and a month of another pillar. It's a pre-designed program. Each week they'll have certain content that they'll digest and processes they'll do, and at the end of that they'll be done. And then the other one will be just ongoing, molded as they go, just keeping them on track and kicking ass. And the overarching, so the 12-month program is a all-inclusive, holistic approach. What's the main outcome that you think you will be helping them with? So like for me, I'm taking this holistic approach, but one of my main overlying focuses is making financial success. Will yours just be truly holistic, or will it be focused at all on one specific area?
I haven't finalized that yet. However, it would definitely be similar to yours, where it's definitely going to be more geared towards an entrepreneur. And like I say, it's going to be more of the, I want to say an upsell, but if people go through that 4-month program and realize that they do want to step into a business or be an entrepreneur, then they could join this mastermind that's ongoing that helps them step into that, embody that on all levels, and really get business tactics and sales tactics and everything else as well.
Perfect. Okay, so I'm wanting to touch for a moment on your why. Even though I was thinking to do this later, I want a deeper why because what we're going to find is the numbers that we can create easily are much bigger than this, but there needs to be a bigger why to back it up. So what would you do if money was no concern? Like literally, if you could make the biggest impact ever and you had millions sitting in the bank and it was yours, what would drive you big time?
Well, my overarching driver for the last couple of years has been raising consciousness and having people be more aware of their daily patterns, thoughts, and actions, and how that has a bigger impact on society. So starting that ripple effect of having people be more aware of their thoughts and actions and really perpetuating that into all of society.
Do you have any wild dreams of like doing live retreats or having millions of followers or something big that's ever entered in that you liked but you don't really know if you could do it?
Yeah, both of those things. I mean, doing certain retreats. I already actually have a couple of retreats that I'm building out as we speak for the next 6 months, and then of course with that comes more followers, more people, more attention.
The retreats will be live retreats?
Correct. Yeah.
How often are you wanting to do those?
Yeah, great question. Yeah, I'm not sure. One, obviously
Once a year, twice a year,
at
four
least
times
one
a
a
year,
year,
6 times a year?
probably twice a year minimum.
How many people will you have at these retreats?
Also a great question. I would say between 10 to 20.
15?
Sure, 15. There we go.
Okay. And what will your price point be?
Also a great question. I haven't thought that far. My initial feeling goes into the price point around $2,000 for a 2-day retreat.
Okay. All right, so 15 people. So if you have 2 retreats per year, so in your ideal world currently, from your current world view, what you can see is possible from whatever you've come to so far, because here's the deal, guys. As you climb the mountain, your view gets more and more clear, and you see more and more options and possibilities, and everything, it's like the better it gets, the better it gets. So you've climbed the mountain, and you turn around and you look off, and you have a better view than you had down here. And right here you have a better view, and right here you'll have an even better view. So so from where you're at right now, so I want you to picture, how many hours a day do you want to work?
I would say, broken down to days, I would love to work 3 to 4 days a week where I'm working 6 to 10 hours a day and then have the other days off. So I guess it would be, say, 4 times.
3 8-hour
40
days.
like a 40-hour week.
So how many days? 3 days on or no? Or 4?
I was thinking 4 days on, 3 days off.
4 days on, 3 days off. Would you rather do you want the weekends off? You want Saturday
I'm
and
indifferent.
Sunday off?
Yeah.
I didn't hear your answer. Do you want Saturday and Sunday off?
Oh, I said I'm indifferent. I'm not really a big weekend person. So.
Okay. So if you were to take 3 days off, what would those days be as of right now?
Let's just say it would be maybe Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
Okay, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So take notes as we go. So you take Thursday, Friday, Saturday off, and then you work Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday?
Correct.
8 to 10 hours each of those days?
Correct.
Got it. Okay, so, and then during those times, so think about it this way. You need X amount of time to market. You need X amount of time to sell. You need X amount of time to fulfill. And then you're going to need X amount of time for admin in your workday. Right? There's just a certain amount of time that needs to be to handle emails and logistics and coordination with people. There's a certain amount that goes to sales, a certain amount to marketing, and a certain amount to fulfillment. If you handle those 4 things, everything in your business is handled. So if you have 4 days a week of 8 hours a day, so it'll be a 32-hour work week. So let's just assume you spent 2 hours marketing, 2 hours selling, 2 hours fulfilling, and 2 hours doing admin. And schedule your day accordingly, scheduling the first part of the day to be sales. And I'm talking just your work day. This is after your power process. So you get up and get yourself in power, and then the first 2 hours is for sales. Now I'm typically making a Facebook marketing post prior to that. just to get the day started off and get me front of mind in people's world, right? But then I would devote a couple of hours to marketing of some sort within that time frame. So if you have 2 hours a day, 4 days of work a week for fulfillment, that means basically you can run one mastermind a day, or you could run one mastermind or a group per day, or on the other days you could do like 2 one-on-one calls. Does that make sense? So
Yeah.
how much of that time would you like? So I reserve my one-on-one time for ultra high-end. Like no one gets one-on-one access to me unless they pay me $100,000 plus a year. So what's your one-on-one pricing?
What's my one-on-one what?
What's your new, as of right now, from what I just told you, you've probably been giving your one-on-one away for shit. So now that that's changed in the last 30 seconds, what's your new price for one-on-one coaching? From the heart right now.
One thing, 10 a year.
Connection faded. Say it again. Oh, come on. You might need to adjust your bandwidth. Do you know how to do that?
Hear me?
Try turning off your video. See if that helps. And Jonathan type it in. Jonathan posted the side in the message thread that said type it in. That might help. But try turning off your video and see if I can hear you better.
I got my video off.
Better.
Okay. All right. So what's your new pricing for one-on-one coaching?
I think
One more time, please.
I said my initial response was $10,000 a year minimum.
$10,000 a year minimum. Okay.
What does that include, though? Chris, get clear with them on what it includes.
So what all are you including in your one-on-one?
Currently, I do 1 week and up to 4 emails.
I didn't understand you. Currently do one what?
On one.
Damn it!
Where Brian and I are like, maybe this is the negative belief patterns creating resistance through this plan and analogy strategy. Mm-hmm.
His ego knows I'm about to take him to $1 million a year, and it doesn't want it.
I know. It's like, but that I still want to be. But you don't.
Can you hear me?
Yes. Try that again, Matt.
Currently, it's $1,000 a month. You get one-on-one 60-minute call a week, and you get email access to me. With
So you're worth $250 an hour.
Correct.
For one call a week.
Correct.
That was a trick question, Matt. That was a trick
if you're
question slash
statement.
What's that?
So, yeah, I get it. Yeah.
So yeah, you're currently valuing your time, space, and input and combined human life value at less than $250 an hour. And the way we know it's less than $250 an hour is that you're trading your hour for that number of money. We wouldn't just trade 250 for 250. If I walked up to you and said, "Hey Matt, I'll give you 250 bucks if you give me 250 bucks," you'd say, "Why are we wasting our time?" So you value your time at less than $250 an hour currently. So anyone and everyone who has not read the ebook Breaking the Time Barrier, Jonathan posted it in group 1. Jonathan, will you post the link right here so that everyone can grab that? It's like a 2-hour read, and it is a must read.
Yeah.
So Matt, the main topic I want you to get in that, and the synopsis of the book is this. There's a web designer. There's 2 web designers. One is going broke and considering getting a job, and the other one's kicking ass and making a lot of money doing what she loves. And he figures out the difference. But the difference is someone asks him for an estimate. They're like, hey, we want a website design. And he says, okay, what colors do you want? What do you want it to say? Okay, got it. This should take me about 50 hours, and I normally bill about $50 an hour. So 50 times 50 is 2,500, and so that'll be $2,500 for your website design. So no matter how good he gets, the better he gets and the faster he gets, the less reward he gets for his greatness. He's not being rewarded for his human life value according to how good he gets. He's trading his time for money. And the better he gets, the less money he gets, because the faster he gets the job done. Versus this other woman says, well, okay, you want a website design, but what is it you're wanting to accomplish? What is it you really want? Why do you want this website built? Well, we'd like to have more clients. Well, how many more clients? And the rest of you are having a hard time having your sales conversations that want feedback on that. This totally applies. So if someone comes to you and says, hey, man, I want to pick up on women, or hey, man, I want to get healthy, or hey, man, Marci told me something about you this morning, Brian Johnson, like, hey, someone asked you, hey, how do I get more information about the blah, blah, blah? Here, buy this $20 product versus...
Myofascial release. You're like, the blah, 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 whatever you said, Marci.
Yeah, myofascial release. Here, go look at this $20 resource versus, hey, tell me more. What are you experiencing with myofascial release? What's driving you to look for answers so that I can better assess and diagnose the situation? So you got to think of yourself as the doctor. If I walk into the doctor and say, hey, doc, my knee's hurting. Oh, here, take this vitamin right here. It's a $20 bottle. Like, that's retarded. Why would I do that? If I'm a good doctor, what I do is properly assess the situation, because who knows what's happening with that knee. I want to test the reflexes. I want to bend it a little. I want to have them climb some stairs. I want to test a whole bunch of things and ask them questions about their diet and their nutrition and all these things to discover really what's going on so that I'm properly diagnosing before I prescribe. Now, if they're asking about myofascia release, who knows what else is going on for them? They may have black mold poisoning. They may have they may have a big-ass pain, an issue in prison they're dealing with, and you send them to a $20 product or service, doesn't actually solve their problem, and you just missed a killer opportunity for a client who just raised their hand and said, pick me. So instead, anytime they're asking a question, don't just immediately, quickly send them to a resource. Ask them more questions. Well, tell me more. What's going on? What's got you interested in this myofascial release? And then they'll start telling you, and you dig into their pain. You take them through that pain gate. Well, what else is going on? And how's that affecting your parenting? How's that affecting your relationship? How's that affecting your health? How's that affecting your moods? How's that affecting all these other things, so that they're making all these connections they haven't made before, like, holy shit, this is costing me everything, or so dang much. I've totally got to solve this. And so that can easily lead you into a powerful conversation. And this may be a person who can easily afford a high-end service from you that would really solve their problem, versus just, cool, here's another quick resource that doesn't fully solve your problem, and it doesn't help me thrive and offer my full gift to the world. So back to the reverse engineering. So Matt, $250 an hour is fairly cheap. So what I want you to think about is these 2 people in the web design thing I was telling you about. So the one asks all these questions and identifies. So if she decides, she says, well, you want more clients, how many more? It's kind of the process I'm driving you through right now. And she's like, well, we'd like to bring in 50 more clients this year. Okay, well, how much is the average price that your client pays for your services? Well, about 10 grand a piece. Okay, so you would like to bring in 50 clients that will pay you $10,000 on average a piece. Is that right? Yes. So in other words, you would like to bring in an additional $500,000 this year as a result of the website you want me to build. Is that right? Yeah, that's right. Okay, got it. Now I know what we actually need to build you. Instead of me building you a stupid-ass website to the colors and design that you asked me for $2,500, I'm actually going to go in and build you the website that will bring you the 50 clients that you want. And instead of charging you $2,500, I'm going to say, look, here's the deal. I know exactly what we need to do to get you a website that'll bring you in 50 clients at $10,000 a piece. But it's not just a website. We're going to need to combine it with this, with some SEO optimization, probably launch a Twitter page and some other social media things, and this other stuff to make it so that that's actually going to become a reality for you. And I'm glad to do that. It'll take about this structure. This is kind of how it will go. And as a result of that $500,000 that I'll be helping you create, all we need to do is secure a $50,000 upfront payment, which is only about 10% of the income that you're going to bring in. So would you like to pay for that on Visa, MasterCard, or American Express? So the two approaches, one dude goes in and asks them what colors and what font they want and sells them a site for $2,500, and the faster he gets and the better he gets at that, the less money he makes and the more clients he has to go get. The second client, instead of, oh shit, I gotta hurry and get this site done so I can barely pay my bills and go get another client, the second person has all the time in the world to truly service and provide the true value for that client. Generate leads, which is what they really want. Nobody wants a website for the sake of having a website. They want an end result. And if you don't get to the end result, then what the hell are you doing? That's like being the doctor who, they're like, hey, my knee hurts. Sure, try ginkgo biloba. This might help.
My ankle hurts. This is what going into a GMC will do. Here, take a brain drug. Only Brian and I thought that was hilarious.
So you dig in and you get clear on the end result that they actually want and what the hell's stopping them from having that, and and what will get them there and get them committed to that, and then you offer a service that will get them there. So rather than just I offer coaching, it's $250 an hour, like get to the bottom of shit. So my high-end clients, I don't just say, hey, I'm really cool coach, been doing it forever, that'll be $100 grand. They're like, $100 grand for what? Well, like you're going to feel really good and we're going to have some good conversations. We're going to talk every week. Like they don't give a shit about talking to me every week.
I will pay $100 grand to talk to you every week. Nice haircut, by the way.
Thanks. So instead, I'm connecting them to the benefit that they get, and I'm helping them see what the result will be. So I'm discovering what's the problem, what's going on for them, and how's this going to result in their end result. So when I'm offering a $100,000 program, you can bet your ass that the person's likely going to make $1 million this year. Mm-hmm. On top of all the intangibles. So they're going to get their relationships all in order and thriving and kicking ass. They're going to get their health kicking ass. They're going to get their spirituality aligned. And they're going to make $1 million. Now, who isn't, who is in that level of the game, which one of them isn't going to pay me $100 grand? Of course they're going to pay me $100 grand. So Matt and anyone else out there who's been equating time with money, you've got to make the switch and equate time with value. And your clients, some of them, if they're newer to the game, they'll start questioning like, well, how much time am I going to get? And my first answer to that is not about the fucking time. Like, it's like the dentist. Would you rather me, like, there's this story, the guy asks his neighbor who's a dentist, hey man, how much to pull my tooth? 30 bucks or 100 bucks or whatever. He's like, 100 bucks? Well, how long is it going to take you? Well, about 30 seconds. 30 seconds? I can make it take longer if you'd like. So it's not about how long you spend with somebody. If I can get in and rock your world and help you break through to making an extra 10 grand a month in 10 minutes, wouldn't you rather get that in 10 minutes than 10 hours so that you can go spend the other 9 hours getting some shit done and doing something productive versus sitting talking about it?
Yes.
It's not about the time, and you always want to make that clear to your clients. Right from the beginning, make that clear that it's not about the time, it's about the value, and that our intention is to get on, I'll tell them, set aside an hour, but the quicker we can get on and off that call, the better for both of us. And then if they ever start bitching, well, I missed this, or what about this, then just remind them, hey, it's not about the time, it's about the value. So we don't get nitpicky into the time at all. We don't allow that to happen. You set their expectations by being clear on that. So with all that being said, Matt, you've got to start wrapping your brain around a bigger why that's going to, so 100,000, when you said that, I'm like, dude, seriously?
Per year, right?
Yeah, his whole goal was just over $100,000 for the next year. I'm like,
I thought the same thing. I'm like, what the fuck, Matt? You are a powerful, amazing genius. What the fuck?
Yeah, with your potential and your connections and your heart and your insight and your resources, not even, dude. So we've got to get you connected to a deeper why. And when you talk, and we already knew that, you already posted that earlier in the week, so your big thing right now is finding your why. And you know what I would do right now would be, there's some powerful stuff we will do with you, but also go to a resource on Simon Sinek. Have you read Start With Why? And anyone else who hasn't read Start With Why, it is a recommended read for all. Matt, read it. Get it and read it. Or get it and download it and listen to it. Start With Why by, I think it's Simon Sinek. Super good book. And he has a good resource on his website as well. But, Matt, you said you want to influence the consciousness of the world. We've got to get that, and even that feels weak for you. Like, I don't know if you have plans to have children that might be deeper for you. There might be plans, I don't know, it might be the influence thing, but on a deeper level. Like, we got to connect you with something big. Sean, the name of the book is Start With Why. Simon Sinek. Looks like Jonathan just posted the link. So, Matt, so like, in your wildest dreams, would you own a retreat center? Would you own a multi-million-dollar retreat center in the mountains where you can do all the best processes you've ever seen and totally transform people's lives? Would you travel all over the world and take people with you? Would you own a mountain property? Would you own, what would your wildest dreams be and your deepest influence? Would you have millions of followers? So start to connect with big-ass dreams like that will require like 100 grand a year. Sure, that gives you a little nicer lifestyle, but that's not going to drive you, dude. There's something bigger that'll drive you to something bigger. So be tuning into that and playing with that and keeping the conversation alive with us on the board, reaching out, and then also reading that book and looking up those resources on his website, etc.
Chris, can I add something to that?
Yes.
So I'm dealing with a lot of high-end people. I've had a few that get to this level where like, holy shit, I'm now totally up-leveled and I've tripled or quadrupled my income. But now I'm finding that they start to feel stuck again, or like they don't see how to go to the next game. And the thing I've always brought it back to is when you create a bigger game in your mind, then your mind sees the reason why. So if you want to fund schools in Mexico and you recognize it costs about $7,000, I know this because we looked into this for Badass Adventures, it costs about $7,000 to build a school in Mexico. So if I know if I'm going to build this many schools in Mexico, if I'm going to assist at a greater, bigger game, then you go from like 100,000 a year is a lot to 100,000 a month is a lot to for me to create a bigger game, my mind's got to circle or bring it around to how that's possible. Then yeah, I get to. I mean, $1 million a year would not be suffice for the game that I want to play. And I just want to touch on this one aspect is that when you just even now, it might seem like your biggest, craziest, wildest dreams. What I found to be the experience, Chris and I, as we created Badass Adventures, we were both like, holy shit. All of a sudden we remembered that it was years ago that we both had said, what would be my ultimate, like the funnest thing that I can imagine doing is going out and doing crazy ass shit in nature, adventures together, and doing deep processing work and transformational work. I had set that intention years ago, so that would be ultimate for me. Chris had set that intention years ago. When did it flow through? And when it showed up for us was like, oh my gosh, we just created what we've been saying that we wanted. And so now, like, seeing how everything manifests. So for me, another game creating that, I always said I want to create a worldwide enterprise, $1 million enterprise, be a millionaire-ess on a mission that not only will I change the planet, consciously, but it's going to be able to assist in third world countries, the mind shift. The last opportunity that's just landed in my lap is a way that third world countries now get mindset shifts. And I'm like, oh, awesome, thank you, universe. It just brings it right to me, the things that I said I wanted to create and do. So, I mean, getting into reverse engineering, I even wrote out like how it starts with what's your end goal? Like, what's one goal? Let's make this simple, okay? So even if you go, for me to do 100,000 a month, when I said I'm going to do 100,000 a month, okay, so let's reverse engineer that. Just the financial part. That would mean 5,000 a day, 5 days a week if I'm taking weekends off. Like Chris said, what's your time frame? 5 days a week, 2 days off. That's 5,000 a day. Okay, how would I get to serve? What would I get to do to create 5,000 a day? So, but when you and Chris, I might be jumping the gun because you want to go into some of this stuff, but I literally wrote out, I was like sitting here thinking about how I reverse engineer it and how you can see all these things showing up. So I'll maybe tap in on that when you go into that aspect of it. But I just want you guys to hear, if you don't start now to go, think bigger than just, okay, well, what would this right now look like? What would this year look like? What do I feel like I can do? Because for Matt Ritchie, I know you're a badass and I know you're a genius. And so for you to say, well, it looks like I'm probably think I could probably do 100,000, and what would that look like? Instead, think so much bigger. It's like, what is my ultimate that I really want? What's the ultimate life I really want? And if I start to reverse engineer that, what does it mean starting right now? So let me give you an example. If I just said I want 100,000 a month, and with my Mind Body Breakthrough program, I was like, okay, what would that look like? If my life is, I want one Mind Body Breakthrough program a month filled at 15,000 for 8 people, and say that break that up into 3-month payments, that's 5,000 a month per person. That's $40,000 per group. If my intention is to have 3 going at once, so Tuesdays is the fulfillment day, my mastermind day. 3 going, that means I've got 120,000 a month just in my Mind Body Breakthrough groups that are going. So if at first, where I just want you guys to hear this, where it first started was going, okay, I want to do a mastermind. This is a new experience. Because if I reverse engineer my life and I say I just want to, make my time more effective instead of all these clients, like Matt, you might be working with a couple clients. You go, oh, okay, I see how a group experience like this is super powerful, and I can help more people, and we can all support each other. Okay, I'm going to do one group, and I did them at 5,000 a person for the 3 months. Okay, so now for it to be at 15,000 for one person and having 3 groups going at once, it went from like, okay, 5,000, that's 40,000 over 3 months, that's, 15,000 or whatever a month. Now so then you can start to build on this, and it steamrolls. But for me to have one Mind Body Breakthrough group, see, Chris and I did this with Badass. We said, okay, how often do we, what's our intention over Badass? How often do we want to do an experience? What does that look like? How many people? At what amount? How, so if he's got his personal clients, I've got mine, we both got our own game. But if we reverse engineer and go, okay, so for Badass, it means every 3 months. So I'm just going to walk through this real quick. My Mind Body Breakthrough group, I've got 15,000, 8 spots. That's 5,000 a month, 40,000 a group. If I have 3 going a month, that's 120,000 a month. If I have 1 goddess every 3 months, that's 10,000, 10 people at 100,000. That's 33,000 coming in a month. If I have one badass event every 3 months, we want, if we're doing one with 30 people at 10,000, that's 300,000. 150, when we take out costs, etc., that's about 50,000 a month. If we're doing our ascension group at our different levels, that's about 20,000 for each of us a month. We do our personal clients, 150,000. I've got 5 of those. That's 60,000 a month. That's the game I'm playing right now. Then it starts to become, so now I've got corporate wellness starting. I get to reverse engineer and see where does that fit in. I get products. I got the mentorship network. That's not including speaking, TV. So you can see how you guys can build on this. But if you just take it back and you say, what's the one thing I'm creating right now? So if Matt, I'm creating a mastermind, and on top of that, I'm up-leveling people into personal coaching. So when I started and I said, my goal is, one mastermind, and you go, okay, if my goal is 50,000 a month, and I started my mastermind at 5,000 and a person, I'd go, okay, so that's 15,000 for the month. What else would I get to do? If I've got one personal client, how much is that? You start with the financial gain that you want, then reverse it and based on the life you want, so the why you want it. So then you create the financial gain. Then you go, okay, now, like Chris said, every single day, what do I do for marketing? Remember how we talked about planting seeds? Plant seeds every day. So it's Facebook marketing every single day, right? It's how do I plant the seeds every single day to be able to get leads every single, just as the videos Brian and I have done in the last, how many messages we got? People messaging me and I'm like, awesome, create that conversation and lead them in, just because taking a few times, see, you've seen them all the time, people messaging, oh my gosh, your guys' videos, oh this, how do I find out more information, right? Just from taking, when things showed up, we just dropped the stories and the bullshit, pulled up the camera and shared something and posted that, and you're planting seeds every single day. So every single day, we do a certain amount of marketing. I got to know, when is my fulfillment going to happen? Just Tuesdays is my fulfillment for my masterminds. Wednesdays is the badass call. The other days, I have a couple personal clients, and I've created this schedule that I love that's free. So start with the why, then the financial gain you want to create, reverse engineer. Okay, if I know I've just got to get 8 people at $5,000, what does that look like in my marketing and my fulfillment and my time management every single day, so that you still are creating that game of that balanced life. So Brian, where you're just like everywhere, it's chaos, it's everywhere, that's also the inner game of I'm not worthy of it. Anything else you want to add to that, Chris? That was kind of a...
Really good, thank you. And Sean Malone, this will tie, I connected with you for a moment during her share, this will give you the oh, this is all I got to do to free myself from the game I'm in right now and jump full on into what I'm doing. So it's make that connection as we break this down, and I'll continue breaking this down for Matt and then apply that to you. Think, so Sean, I don't know what income you bring in from your chiropractic job. Is it 5, 6, 7, 8 grand a month? 10? So about 100K a year, so 8, 9 grand a month. So as you think through your group format, and as you have me do this with Matt, pay attention and get it all broken down for yourself. And then if you have further questions, post it in the group later. But getting clear on this will help you see the roadmap as to, oh, all I got to do to free myself from the position I'm in and get rid of my job and be full-time doing what I love is to have this many speaking gigs that convert this many people, that launch this many groups, and then it's done. Mm-hmm. So if you, Sean, pricing, so go ahead and post pricing on the side here in the messenger thread while I continue with Matt, so we can do a little bit with you and help you get that clarity as well. So Matt, is your voice coming through clear? How are you doing?
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yay.
Okay, so Matt, how many one-on-one clients would you like to have per day? So would you do say, out of those 4 days you work, maybe do 2 group calls and 4 one-on-one calls, or 3 group calls and 2 one-on-one calls? What would you like to use that time? How would you like to use it?
2 group calls and 4 one-on-one calls. That'd be good.
Okay, so 4 one-to-ones per week and 2 group calls per week. Okay, so in your ideal world, working this time, it would be ideal if you just did that. So now let's talk about numbers. Let's assume you want to do let's not go as high as what Marci said, 1 million, because it might be a little bit of a stretch for you from your current viewpoint. We could change it to that probably in a couple months. But for now, if you were at 108 or whatever thousand you were, let's assume we're going to 250,000. Cool with that, or is there another number you want to go with?
No, I like that.
Okay. So 250K. Let's reverse engineer that. If you're going to work 4 days a week, how many weeks do you think you'll want to take off out of that this year?
At least 4.
Okay. So at least. So does that mean 6 or 8?
We'll say 6.
See the verbiage, people? You got to catch this shit. This is what separates an epic coach from a decent coach. So 6 weeks off. So you got 52 weeks in a year, right? So minus 6. Got 46 weeks to work with. Let's cut another week off of that and make it an even 45 weeks. Okay, so you got 45 weeks to make $250,000. So 250,000 divided by 45. We're in the reverse engineering process right now. That's only $5,555 per week. Okay, so if you have 4 days that you're going to spend 2 hours a day marketing a week and 2 hours every week, 2 hours a day marketing and 2 hours a day selling. So if you're having sales conversations and those sales conversations say take you an hour apiece, that means you're going to be doing 2 sales conversations a day. So we get your marketing amped up so that you always have 2 sales conversations scheduled every day with solid qualified leads. And let's assume that you only close 50% of those, which I close higher than that. I'm probably like 80%. But let's assume you're only going to close 50%. So you're going to close 1 person per day into something, whether it be high-end or group or something. And so 4 days a week, that means you're going to add 4 new clients per week once your system is fully implemented, once you have solid and consistent lead generation and solid, dependable, consistent sales conversations and a schedule that's managed accordingly. So you'll have 2 sales conversations a day, 4 days a week. You'll close half of those. Will be 4 new clients every single week. So if the average price, let's look at the average price. So the numbers you gave me were $750 a month for the 4-month program or $1,000 a month for the 12-month program. I don't like that pricing at all. For several reasons. One is, if I sold you a car or I rented you a car and I said, hey dude, here's a car, go take it and use the hell out of it however you want, and don't worry about giving me a down payment or anything. It's just I don't need any collateral whatsoever for the use of this car. I'll just give you, here, just pay me payments. And then you could utilize and you could totally thrash and destroy that car in 3 months and turn it back into me. And I lost all of the value of the asset that I provided for you, and you have nothing on the line to keep your ass in the game and treat it with respect. It would be absolutely retarded for me to rent. So Warren Buffett was the richest man in the world at one point, and they asked him, what's the #1 key to your success? What would you advise us? And he said, never lose money. They're like, no. Yeah, of course, never lose money. Haha, funny. Now tell us really, give us some gold. And he's like, no, that is the nugget. Like, think about it deeply. What does it take to never lose money? It means stop fucking gambling. Stop gambling and taking risks and setting shit up so that you lose money. Banks don't lose money. Like, they do, but they don't, because they've factored in those numbers and percentages. So if you looked, I don't want to go into all the time it takes to explain it, but on my auto loan, they have collateral. They have contracts. They win no matter what. If I default, they sue me. If I don't pay, they collect. If they have my credit on the line, they have down payment on the line. They have if I default and total it, they're covered because they've had the loan insured and they had me pay for the insurance. So they've gone to every extent to make sure that no matter what happens, they get paid. There's only one scenario where they kind of don't get paid, and that's if I let my insurance lapse and I totaled the car and I stopped paying them all at the same time. But they've even factored for that because they know that there's a certain amount of people that are going to do that, and they've already factored it into their interest and their earnings to offset that. So there's not one scenario in the big picture that a bank loses on auto loans, ever. It's not a gamble. It's not this whole concept of high risk equals high reward at all. That's a myth. It's like, yeah, have the courage to step out and take big leaps, but not with gambling. You're not gambling. If you're going to fucking walk that tight wire, know how to walk the tight wire. And have a rope tied on and a safety net or whatever so that even if you do screw up, you're covered. So take the risk, but also don't be stupid. It's not a gamble. Like, not even take the risk. Like, do the scary shit, but don't gamble. So, with that being said, let's say your average ticket was, if you're going to say do one-on-ones, and here's the next thing about one-on-one, Matt. Don't do one-on-one shit short term. That's retarded. That's like me saying, hey, you want six-pack abs? Do my 7-day program. It's going to be epic. Seriously, are we going to get someone to have sustainable six-pack abs in 7 days? No. And the same thing with any other dramatic change in someone's life that will be sustainable. And who gives a shit about helping someone short-term solve a problem if it doesn't long-term solve it? We can have them go on a starvation diet or a cleanse diet and lose 30 pounds in a month, but that's not sustainable, and there's no use even doing it if it's not. So if you're going to work with someone one-on-one or on any substantial level, make it a longer-term program, at least 3 months minimum. And ideally, if you're going to do some deep work and some big empowering stuff, make it a year. So now once you've established that, connect, and no matter what you're selling, for those of you who aren't doing coaching business, you have a brick and mortar business, the same shit applies. When you're selling a steel tank or anything out there, when you're making that sell, you're having a conversation that helps them connect with the value rather than being fixated on the price, and get yourself out of a market where you're competing on price. If they're like, well, XYZ company will do it for cheaper, fucking A, have them do it. If what you're looking for is cheap, have them do it. If what you're looking for is quality and something you can depend on, let's talk about that. Because the next time you have that spill and that big-ass cost, and it costs you $1 million because you fucked it all up because you were tight-ass up front, then we'll talk, and then you'll come back anyway. So if you're ready for quality, let's have a conversation. So you notice Apple doesn't, compete on price. They don't do sales, and they don't do this. They do quality marketing is what they do. So you're connecting them with the value. So Matt, really, you've got to get connected with the value of your coaching. Right now, you're just connecting intangibly. Like, yeah, I help people feel good and give them some good ideas, and you're not truly sold on the value of your coaching. And you're not connected with the end result that they're going to get. And if their end result is an additional $250,000, then there's no reason why you wouldn't charge anywhere from 10 to 20%. When I think in tangible context, I think 10 to 20% of what I'm convinced that I can help them make. So if I meet somebody, I'm like, I'm convinced I can make this guy $1 million, then I'm going to charge him between $100,000 to $200,000. One of the connections we made with Marci that was one of her first big breakthroughs on making bigger money was this trainer. He was a speaker and a teacher, a mentor, who was making about $4 or $5 million a year. And he was a little bit overweight, kind of chubby. He wasn't in his full power, and he hadn't broken through the power that was available in the body. And in the sales conversation, she helped him make the connection between, look, if you're making $5 million a year currently, would you agree, and well, before that conversation even came up, it was like, would you agree that, you know, if with the body that you're utilizing right now, that you're only accessing a certain portion of the power within you? And he's like, yes, I agree. And she's like, also, do you realize that people buy much more from people that they deem to be sexy? He's like, yeah, I could see that. Yeah, psychologically it's proven people tend to buy from people that they think are sexy. So she's like, if you were more sexy and people perceive that of you, and that upped your sales, and you showed up in more power and certainty because you finally conquered this body thing that's been kicking your ass for all these years, do you think it likely that you could up your sales by, say, 20 or 30%? Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Cool. So let's assume and be, conservative here, and let's just say it upped your sales by 10%. And you're currently doing $5 million, so if it upped your sales by 10% by being more sexy and more in your power, which is totally doable, how much income would that be? Oh, that'd be an extra $500,000 a year. Okay, cool. So go ahead and sign me a check right now for $50,000. We'll get that handled for you. Like, who wouldn't pay $50,000 to make an extra $500,000? But it was fitness. How did we relate this to money? It was fitness. I was selling him fitness. Well, shit, connect it to something else so that they're willing to make the big investment. Because if it was just fitness and he's comparing you to the next fitness trainer down at the gym, then yeah, he's thinking $50 an hour. But when you make the connection in their brain that it's something different and that they're going to get a breakthrough and it's going to result in this, 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 and this, then it's a whole nother ballgame. You're no longer competing as a commodity with the next guy in the market. So Matt, your question is, how do you put a price on intangible value? Health, relationships, spiritual peace? It's really hard to put a value on that. It's invaluable, and people don't put as much money, tangibility on that. But one of the ways I do it is with relationships. I'll say, okay, here's the deal. You're worth $1 million. And so I'll ask them questions to identify that. Okay, so you're considering divorce. You're not sure whether to work it out or not. And you're considering a relationships coach, but you're not sure if it's going to help or if it's even worth it. And you're worried about my price. Is that right? Yeah, that's right. Okay, so let's talk about this a little bit. How much did you say you're worth right now? Well, my net worth is about $1 million. Okay, and how many kids did you say you had? Well, I've got 3 kids. Okay, and did you say you don't want to bring the kids through that? Yeah, that's right. Oh, and if you could work it out with your wife, you would prefer that? Yeah, but I just don't know if we could fall in love again. Well, I'm telling you right now, you could fall in love again. It's not actually something that happens to you. It's something that happens by you. But we'll go into that more later. But let's connect a little bit the dots here. So I just want you to be clear on the cost of getting the divorce. So how much do you think you'll pay in attorney's fees for this divorce? Oh, probably about $25,000. Got it. Okay. And then how much a month do you think you'll be paying out in child support? Oh, I don't know. I never paid. Well, I pay about this much. Do you think it might be, say, $1,500 to $2,500 a month for the next 15 years? Yeah, that sounds about right. Okay, so $15 a month. Someone run me a calculation real quick on the call here. Say it was $2,000 a month. That's $24,000 a year for 15 years. Okay, and then you're going to split half of your assets and your net worth with her and pay her some alimony. So that's going to be another X amount of thousands. and then you're going to split, about half of your million. So, somewhere between 300,000 and 500,000 of that's going straight to her. And then you're going to divide up the house, and you're going to figure out how to divide the mortgage. And then you're not going to actually get rid of her because you're going to be co-parenting for the next 18 years. So you're going to quit having sex. You're going to quit enjoying the good things that you enjoy about it. And you're going to divide the family, and you're still going to deal with all the shit, and you're going to shell out all this cash, and it's going to cost you, in the end, somewhere around $1 million with a whole lot of heartache and a divided family and struggling children who are going to grow up and deal with all the issues of not having dad around, and you're going to feel like a failure as a father, and it's totally going to be fucking miserable. All to go out and recreate it with someone else and discover that it was you all along, and you're going to attract the same shit all over again. So tell me, do you want to, there's two choices for you. You take a minute, solve some shit in you, get some shit aligned, create the passionate, amazing relationship you want, pay out about 50 or 100 grand to solve that right now, up front, and we just handle it. Or the other option is you continue down the path you're going, blame her, blame life, blame God, blame the world, and get divorced, fuck up your kids. Not that that's the truth, but like we want them to consider the possibility. and spend out all this money and be miserable anyway and end up with the same shit and probably repeat the same thing over again with the next woman, and then we're just talking all this much more money again. So which one of those two do you want? I mean, it's a pretty easy choice, right? When we show the real true options in the picture. And now, when I just showed him he's going to pay out $500,000 or $1 million that's tangible right there in front of his eyes because he's not willing to handle his intangibles, do you think he's willing to pay me 50 or 100 grand to solve that? Mm-hmm. Bet your ass.
Bet your ass.
You bet your ass.
I feel like I need a hat.
So, Matt, do you see how that connects the intangibles?
Yeah, that's actually a really good breakdown. I never heard it done like that before.
Yeah, so you're always looking in your mind, how do I get this person to connect with the true cost of what they're doing? Their body isn't just costing them their body. It's not just, oh, I'm still 10 pounds, 20, 30 pounds overweight. It's not that. There's so fucking much more behind it. And their lack of spirituality and their lack of relationships and all that, it's huge. It's monumental to their life and what they will accomplish.
So one thought around that, Chris, is, what's coming to me? Matt, do you realize the value of you being conscious in your life? Like, how can, when you say, like, so if you haven't connected to, how is your life different because you've awoken? Because you're awakened to the truth that you're the creator of your world, etc. Seeing that deeper in value of, like Chris is connecting it to, when you realize people in their shit. So, this was the thought for me, is even taking someone to a sales call. When I get people on a call, they're already sold. They're convincing me to take them on. And through questions, I'm like, well, I want to know what's really going on. Like, let's get truthful. And they might give me a little quick review synopsis of like, well, yeah, everything's fucked up and this is this and this. But I clearly want to hear every little aspect of their pain, of every single aspect of their life. Even if I know they're saying they're sold already, until I help them see that what's really going on, the connection to how they're operating in relationships, then they think. So for instance, I had this guy on the phone the other day on my way back from LA from my event. I had scheduled one sales call that I was like, I'll do this while I'm have Chris and Tyson, my sales guy, and my Chris, one of my clients that was with us, was driving back. And so maximizing my time, like, oh, I'll do one call and let's see how this goes. And one call, talking to this guy who's a high-level corporate guy, just got divorced, and he was already like, in the first 5 minutes, like, oh yeah, this and this is bad, this is bad, this is bad. I'm not really moving forward and creating my dream business, all these other things. Instead of me going, okay, awesome, like, and knowing like he was already in a shitty place, I'm like, but I really want to know what's happening, what's really going on. Describe for me. What does it look like? What else? And through hearing each thing, I allowed him to see that his perceptions and his belief systems and the things that were running were only going to create more shit in holding him there. And like, so he said, well, yeah, someday. I'm like, well, what would the relationship look like that you want? Well, I want a woman who gets it and would make me happy. And I said, interesting. And so I got to break down how it's a bullshit game that you're looking for someone else to make you happy. And how he was showing up in his marriage trying to make her happy and her trying to make him happy, how they're so unwhole in themselves and not knowing how to fully be validated and loved through themselves, how that was a bullshit game that even if down the road he meets someone, he's going to go through the same ass experience. So see, it's by connecting these inner dots of what's really going on in a greater degree that makes you go, whoa, see the big picture. So think, how do I give them the big picture? Not just like what's happening this very moment. Because that big picture, when you what I think is the best analogy for you to really tap into is their life is on the line. See, when I talk to somebody, it's not, oh, you want a great body. It's your fucking life is on the line. What kind of life do you want? If you don't get clear with why the results are showing up in your body, it's because of the root cause down here. It's just the symptom. So if your relationships are off, it's a symptom, and it's just going to keep being on this hamster wheel that's going over and over and over and over again. Your job on that call, Matt, is to wake them the fuck up. And that's what's different. So my new sales guy has been going through some of my stuff and listening to some of my sales calls, and I get people all the time that they want to do JV partnerships to be like, they want me to teach something on just like basically a one-call close. How do you sell people on $15, $30, and $150,000 programs on one call? And I've always been like, I just call them on their bullshit. But for him to hear me completely call him on their bullshit, I think I use you're mentally masturbating in your mind and all these things that Tyson and Chris were just like, did she just say that? I'm like, I'm coming out of love. I'm like, this is what is really going on at the core level. This is what's really happening. But someone on the surface might just say, oh, so it sounds like you've got some, so relationships are hard and your body's like 10 pounds off. Okay, so, what else is happening in your life? Oh, you're not really you're not feeling fulfilled. Oh, okay, so when is that enough? When do you want to do something different? And they don't see how it really is that big of a deal. We're in too much surface shit. You're in your whole the best way you can serve them is to be truthful and to shed the light for them on the darkness, on going through that darkness and finding the light on the other end, and that it's so much bigger than just, oh, hey, Matt, you're a business coach, and, I'd like to make a little bit more money, or, you know more about the body, Brian. How do I do the body? I mean, Brian, it's like through these videos of talking about literally how if you feel an emotion and you're not willing to look at what's going on, how that's going to turn into massive disease, dysfunction, and the medical costs and all, blow their world right open of how then there's disconnect in your relationships and you're always going to recreate the same thing. Your goal, just like Chris is saying, is to bring out that big picture of their fucking life is on the line. And you are the lifeline. Yo, snap.
Okay, so Brandon, how often do we get on a call with one-on-one clients? For my high-end clients, it's basically however often they need me. It's like a lot of them will schedule like as consistent, okay, we'll meet every Tuesday at 2 or whatever, like once a week. And then it's on demand in between that where they can text me, they can instant messenger me, they can email me, they can whatever, anytime, and I will get back with them at my earliest convenience. Meaning as soon as, if I have other commitments, I keep my other commitments, but my first opening, I'm right there. And some of them are, it's kind of comes and goes in phases. Some of them it's like, hey, we're going to meet 3 times this week. And next week we might meet once or none. And on average, we'll meet like once or twice a week, depending on the person and the situation, and it kind of goes up and down. If they're paying that level, I'm there. I'm making sure that they're on their A game 24/7. as often as possible. Now there's some limitations, and I do let them know. I'm like, okay, I do reserve nights and weekends as much as possible for kids, etc. Okay, so back to, let's finish this reverse engineer, and we got a lot of other things to cover. So Matt, so for you to make $250K a year, you need to average $5,555 a week. So even if you were selling at your low-end prices that you offered, and you were selling just 2 hours a day, closing one of those a day, and you were selling them at $1,250 a spot, which is, you don't even have anything that low. So let's assume you're selling your 4-month program. Now, is your 4-month program, is it a group thing? Is it an automated thing? How does that work?
It's going to be group, but group and automated, actually.
How many people can be in it?
Great question. I don't know if there's a limit. I mean, I think a good number would be definitely under 20.
Will it be phone calls or video platform like this, or what will it be?
Video platform.
Will it be coaching or training?
Training mostly, yeah.
Okay. So in the beginning, if you haven't done a lot of that, I suggest you keep it under 10.
Okay.
Holding the container for more and more people is a skill and an ability and a capacity that it gets to be built up. I had not the ability to do that in the beginning. When I first did my first online coaching like this, I had went from leading rooms of hundreds and sometimes thousands of people, and I went into trying to lead like 10 people on a thing like this, and it totally threw me off because I didn't feel the same connection and intuition and flow with everybody. So you got to allow some space for that to level up. So do you know what platform you're going to use? Are you going to use Google Hangout or something else?
Yeah, I'm going to use Google Hangout.
Okay, so cap it at 9 people so that you can have video spots for one for you and one for the other 9. Because there's only 10 video spots on the live front end. And if you're not good at running the energy, having the people on the back end will just sink you. So start with 9 people is your cap for that program. Now, are those going to be 1-hour calls or 2-hour calls?
1 hour.
Okay, 1 hour. Great. So that means on that day, you could do up to 2 of those per day if you chose and still get everything else done. So you can run, if this 4-month program, you could launch one of those a month, and you could do up to probably 3 of those programs simultaneously. Does that make sense? So you launch a 4-month program, and then a month later you launch the next one, and then a month later you launch the next one, and now you have 3 programs running, and then one will end at the end of 4 months, and then you start your next one. Does that make sense?
That's how I have my mind-body breakthrough, guys, is I focus on, with my reverse engineering, I fill 1 a month. And so I do 3 ongoing. So I just have 1 day a week. My fulfillment is 1 day a week. Tuesdays at 9 a.m. I have my first group, 9 to 11. The next group's from 11:30 to 1:30. The next group's from 2 to 4. All around the world, I coach 38 people in 1 day and have 3 groups always running. So one drops off and another one starts. So you start with 1 and you can always build up on that.
Yes. So if you're filling this group and you're doing 3 of those simultaneously, and then you're just keeping that rolling. So run the numbers on that. If you have 9 people at $2,500 a piece, how much is that? Like $22,500, I think, if I did the numbers right in my head. $22,500 per group times 3 groups. Is $67,500 if I did the math right in my head. That's for 3 groups, but you're going to do that 3 times a year. Which should be 180, 200, and 200,000 and like 1,500 or something. Anyone got the math? So you're 202,500 just from those groups. And that's taking you an hour a week to do that call. Plus I would add an online forum like we've got here that'll probably take you another half hour a day that will go towards fulfillment. So you're going to spend an hour a week, well, per call, per group. So you're going to have 3 hours a week for those live calls, and you're going to have probably 3 hours a week for interaction with them on their forums.
I have something to get clear on as you're deciding on that, though, guys, is how you're structuring it, meaning what you're giving. Because for me, 1 hour would just not be enough for me to break through people's bullshit and go through every single person. But that's because on my calls, I do accountability. They get me. It's their way to get me if they're not a high level. So this is the greatness about it, is you can say, okay, I'm going to start a mastermind, and I'm going to do, I was just telling Brian, I do 8 people. I've found that if I do more than 8, it's way too long. I do 8 people for 2 hours, and it's basically me touching base with each person and seeing what their resistance was for the week, holding them accountable, and building an awesome balanced life, like giving feedback. So like last week, somebody had issues around money. We did breakthrough around money work and tools to open up money, and like 4 of them made an extra 10 grand last week. Because one person has an issue on money because I get to bring that up of what's them. The next person might be relationships. The next person might be sabotage with food. So everyone has massive value on getting so much breakthrough around everything every single week. But to start, you might, if you don't have a program, so for me, they're in my program, they're listening through the week to my teaching. They're listening to the audios, they're going through the opportunity assignments, they're tracking their stuff. So when we come back, it's about, hey, accountability, and let's break through what's going on, and let's assist you to move forward. If you don't have a program or way that they're learning that, yours might be like this situation where Chris and I are teaching whatever we feel we get to teach. So you say, okay, so for Brian, I'm gonna teach a body breakthrough to recreate health for people having physical disease or etc. Okay, and it's gonna be 8 weeks or 12 weeks, and he just goes, okay, so for me to go reverse engineer this and do, all I need is 8 people at 5,000 a piece. Okay, how many sales call a day do I do? Whatever. He fills the group, and you can record. You do a group and he just goes, okay, so the logistics don't really matter until you're ready to run the fucking group, okay? You sell it, you find out what they need, you're feeling intuition, you're like, okay, so he's like, what would be the first thing I want to teach these people? Week 1, I'm going to teach them this, and then maybe you open it up at the end for questions and answers. Maybe that's what you sell them on, is I'm going to teach you what to do, give you an assignment for the week to move forward on, an opportunity to move forward on creating change through the week, and answer a couple questions. And next week when we come back, maybe you take the first couple minutes and you get feedback on what people did and break through, or you just go, okay, now this is the next week, this is what I'm teaching. And the same thing, and you're recording it. So then what happens is you can either create your content so that that's your program, that people listen to the content, and then the next mastermind you just do accountability. Or that recorded content now becomes your at-home program. That's your downsell. So see, but you make money as you create it. So for me, it feels more in alignment that I give them the content they're working on all week long, and then I can hold every single one of them accountable. But if we go, even we tend to some groups, I go past 2 hours with 8 people because we go so deep and we're doing so much with each one of them. So for me, I was like, nope, they're always capped at 8 because that's as much as we can do. But realize, obviously, you can create the content. So I'm just saying, when you're deciding if it's 1 hour or 2 hours, if you're just teaching and you're allowing people at a lower level to come in and just be a part of the group and just hear your teachings, maybe 1 hour is great. But if you're going to do teachings and accountability or accountability breakthrough work, think about what you're creating and what you're doing when you're setting that up.
Yes, great insights. So, Matt, on the program that we're working on right now, I was designing this on the 4-month program that you said you wanted to do your 4 pillars, and you said you wanted to do just training. So based on what Marci's telling you, I think the 1 hour is great because it's for training. When we get into the mastermind group that you're talking about, it'll be incredibly difficult to do 1 hour of any type of breakthrough work with a group of 8 or more people in like that. I don't even know how to do that. So don't mean it's impossible, but I would plan on, in your mastermind group, definitely planning for the 2 hours, but I do see you being able to pull off 1 hour in your 4 pillars program, making it a training-based program. Now, I also see this being a lower ticket item, and then when they graduate from that and they've seen tremendous results, you say, hey guys, this was huge. We've helped to establish a firm foundation in these 4 pillars, and you've had massive results as a result of this. Now, if you're ready to take it on and make it a lifestyle and add accountability and breakthrough and community and all this other stuff, let's talk and have a conversation about my mastermind group where shit goes next level. And it's a 12-month program. It's, you know, we cap it at 8 or 9 people. It's this and this and this and this. So that's what I'm seeing for you is this training group like we've talked about, an hour a week, live trainings on your 4 pillars. Like Marci said, you can record those calls and you can transcribe those and have them be an ebook. You can save the audios and have an audio program. You can save the videos and have a home study course that you charge for. There's all kinds of options in that. Or you can just keep doing them live and sell the new group, or a combo of all of it. So just with what we designed there, you're at $202,500 a year just running those at a cost of your time of about 6 hours a week. And that's not including launching your mastermind group. So if you launched a mastermind group and say you ran, I probably wouldn't do more than like 1 or 2 mastermind groups. I might let those 3 other groups feed the 1 mastermind group. Because you would automatically, if all you did was enroll 1/3 of the people, so you might approach all your initial sales conversations to the 4-month group and require that as a foundational entrance into your stuff. Like, this is just the ground rules and the way we operate around here, and you must go to this before you have access to anything else that I do. It's my 4-month program where we establish the 4 pillars. It's $2,500, and I probably would just take away that payment plan. It's a low enough price and ticket that I'd just say it's $2,500. And I wouldn't offer the payment structure. If they can't come up with $2,500, they're probably not your ideal client. I may be off on that, but that's my first intuition on it. So just say it's $2,500. How would you like to pay for that? So it's probably just a money issue for you, that you're concerned about, you know, these healers that are broke and that, you know, you're not willing to push them through yet. So just be willing to push them through or help them get through that money barrier. So then they invest $2,500 up front. You're now making $202,500 a year, working 6 hours a week. Then, just from the upsell, from the people participating in that group, if you enrolled 1/3 of those people, which should be super easy, if you deliver and way over deliver and totally kick ass in their world in that 4-month program, should be super simple to upsell them to this mastermind group. And if you just ran 1 mastermind group a year, and you charge more, so this $10,000, I don't like that price. So if we went though with, say, any intuition on this, Marci or Matt, anything else coming through after what we've said?
I think there's, so my experience is, if you're trying to target all sorts of people, so I want to have something for everybody. So my at-home program is the lowest end thing that I have, but it's a big jump to my mastermind program because they see the value in the coaching that I have. So if it's when you were saying $1,000 a month, or $2,500 maybe just be a part of the training thing, awesome. Creating the value of you having the time with you, and that's why the accountability is so great. It's like you're not just they're actually getting broken down to their own shit and how to move forward. So I think it's got to be a big enough gap and jump that it's not that you see that value, and that's why it's getting, whether it be personal time. So for a $150,000 client for me, not only do they get to talk to me once a week, but they get to come in and spend like 2 days with me once or twice a year. And that's that hands-on that's invaluable to literally like sit down and strategize in their business and to do working out and to do the food and the nutrition, etc. So if I mean, I don't know if that's a question you're really asking, Chris, but is have it be a big enough gap that it's not that people go, oh, I'll just do that home program. It's so close. I'll just do that home program. They've got to see the value in working with you and why it's going to catapult their life.
Okay, so thank you, Marci. Yes. And Matt, I ran some numbers while she was talking. here's my recommended price point for you at this point, and I want to see this go up. Within the next 3 to 6 months, I'd like to see these prices doubled, but what I'd recommend for you right now would be that your mastermind program is a $15,000 a year program, that you will accept a payment plan, but it's a minimum of $5,000 down and $1,000 a month. That puts them paying a total of $17,000 if they choose to pay payments versus up front. Gives them some incentive to pay up front. And if you're making an average of $15,000 and say you cap the group at 8 people, that's $120,000 income. And that's costing you about 2 hours a week to do the video coaching, not training, coaching. And then you're also going to interact in the group probably a couple hours a week, so another 4 hours a week. So now you're at 10 hours a week on fulfillment. So we're slightly over. We had designed 2 hours a day, 4 days a week. So now you're going to do 2.5 hours a day on average, 4 days a week to be there. But our income also went up. You're now at $322,500. Unless people opt into payment plans, then it's going to be slightly higher. Then if you do 2 retreats per year, which would be fun for you, break up the monotony, get out. If you had 15 people at $2,000 a piece, which $2,000 is fairly cheap, let's bump that to $2,500 for now. So 15 times 2,500 is $37,500. So let me add this all up. 202,500 plus 120 plus 37,500. 360,000. Okay, Matt, what are you noticing?
I'm feeling the ceiling raised on what's possible.
And you see how easeful that can be and how you can have a totally amazing lifestyle designed exactly. And we started like by what lifestyle do you want? We didn't, it's like, okay, you want this much money, you want this lifestyle. How do we design it around that? Right? And knowing that and reverse, so that's what we're talking about when we say reverse engineering. We're getting clear on what the hell do you want at the end result. And then we just work back through and ask the questions and discover how we're going to get there.
Chris?
Yes.
I want to share, see, when you see how easy this is, when you go, okay, so wow, when you do the numbers and you do the reverse engineering, you're like, wow, all I got to do is fill one group and I got 50 grand coming in my pocket. So Brian just had amazing aha right here to go. He's like, Marci, he's been asking me little questions and designing this. He's like, that's what I'm doing. That gets you out of, from you go feast, famine. What's the game plan and the strategy you live by honoring all your core 4, core 5, by planting the seeds every day, it's simple. It's a simple game. It's no longer insecure or out of control or you don't know how to do it. It's simple. And just, so Brian's even like, wow, if I just fill one group a month, I'm out of the fear game of money. And that's always there, yeah. And then you just continue to add on that. You could be doing 2-3 groups a month, and that's your consistent income. Your bills are paid. Then guess what? Then everything else becomes a bonus. Personal clients, then your corporate wellness program. All these things become bonus. Just my personal clients alone will pay my bills, but between that mind, body, and my goddess, and badass with Chris, and corporate wellness, and products, and speaking, and TV, it all just becomes bonus, and you're just like breathing easy. So just realize how simple it is. So now it's like, oh, okay, so to fill one mastermind, what does that look like? My 2 hours of sales calls a day, my this and this. Like, share what you just brought up, right?
So for me, I still have some personal training clients, and I love them, and I'm fucking tired of doing one-on-one times with people because it takes my most valuable hours in the day when I could be investing myself and enjoying the things I like to do in the morning. So this just gave me a good visual idea of how easy it is to enroll someone in a $3,000 to $5,000 program versus when you're getting into $50,000 and $100,000 packages that are still available. This just allows more people that don't necessarily have the potential to invest on a one-on-one basis, but actually to get in and start getting your information in a community setting that you can service 8 to 10 people in 1 hour which is dramatically different than doing one person and being stuck at a flat rate. So it was a big understanding of getting the overall picture and how to execute it from the end result back to the beginning. So it also gives me stuff to coach on with the people that I coach now. So it covered multiple facets. So good information.
But also on top of this, guys, it's not realized. So it's a starting phase. Like for Matt, it can be that they get into starting phase 1, they experience you, and then they want more. So people get in my mind, body, and they're all at the end. They're like, "What's next?" I'm like, "Well, if you're female and I feel like you're ready for it, then goddess is next. If you're a badass who's ready to up level in strategy, etc., a badass is next for you." And so it's like then there's and I've had so many people want to. Even the guy that I sold the other day on the phone. He wasn't quite ready for $30,000 personal coaching with me during his 90 days. He did $15,000 mastermind. He's like, "But can I up level to that $150,000 client?" I'm like, hell yes, you totally can. So most of them will have an experience, and then they see the change, or they're making the money change and all that, and then there's that reason to be able to do more.
The beauty of it is something that I can execute as soon as we're done with this call. I can put a video out and automatically put an enrollment process out and have this information going while I'm dicking around on airplanes and stuff.
Yep. And so for Sean, where you're saying it begins by building a tribe, again, that's a bullshit story. Facebook is worldwide. You post something, you start doing your 3x3 strategy. It's not even like one message can touch the lives of anybody. I mean, how many views do we have on our? You were saying it's like thousands of views already on one video we posted yesterday.
Even beyond that. So Sean, that's another bullshit fucking game. Sorry, Marci, I've been waiting, chomping to get this, and there's something even cooler. So, Sean, one fucking speaking gig. So one of the mentors I learned from that I didn't even like very much, but he helped me make some big ass breakthroughs around marketing and sales. He was a dumbass who knew that's rough. He was a guy. I had been. So here's the deal.
I know this. I feel angry at this man.
Here's the deal. Here's the deal. I had been coaching and diving deep and breaking through and attending more fucking coaching and training programs for more fucking years than you could shake a stick at. I was more qualified than he was 100 fucking times over, and the motherfucker was making 100 times more money than I was. Now, take all that projection back. It wasn't that he was a motherfucker or a dumbass. It's actually the opposite. That he got, holy shit, I can help people, and if I get out of my own way and just start offering it, then I can make a lot of money doing it. So he had been a coach for only like 3 or 4 years, and he was making like $5 million a year. I've been a coach for 8 or 9 years, and I was making a couple $100,000 a year.
Now I know who you're talking about.
His audience getting pissed off. I'm saying, this guy's a fucking idiot compared to me. I could break him through from fucking head to toe sideways, and that motherfucker's making so much more than I am, like 20 times my income. What the hell's going on? And I could barely sit through his trainings. It was so fucking boring to me, but I knew he had something that I wanted to get. And finally, after about 4 or 5 of his trainings, me pulling my fucking hair out, sitting through them, I got the nugget, and I found it. And I was like, oh, this is why I came to this bastard, and this is why I sat through all this stuff. And this guy, seriously, something clicked in him about marketing and selling that where he was overweight, he was insecure, he was like, his life was a mess, he was broke, he was in debt, and I was certified to high heaven and everything you could think of. He decided, well, I'm going to teach a relationships training. He went out and handed out business cards at the local fucking mall. He walked into each store in the mall and said, hey, can I speak to the manager? Oh, I'm the manager. Cool. Just wanted to get your email address. I'm going to be doing a training on relationships and want to let you know about it. And get your business card so I can send you over an email about my relationships training I'm doing. And gathered their business cards and emailed a bunch of people who worked at the fucking stores at the mall about his upcoming relationships training that he had 0 certifications, 0 expertise. He seriously sold the fucking thing before he even knew what he was teaching, and then he went and read various magazines and books and gathered some topics and formulated a relationships course and taught it. And then he went and did that again on another course and another course and another course until finally after like a year into that, he did a body language course, and a whole shitload of people showed up. And at that course, he sold out. So, and he learned a skill, which is one of the skills I learned from him about, and I taught, it was a click for you, Sean, just the other week, when I said, you don't just sit and teach and say thank you. You set it up for them to see, get a breakthrough, get huge value, show them the next problem, and say the solution to this next problem is to attend my next course or whatever. So he did this, and he showed up, and they were broke ass and struggling, and his wife was there wondering why the hell he kept doing these trainings and what he was doing. And he made an offer, and he was so scared and so insecure and so feeling unworthy. And he makes an offer, and he looks to the back of the room. He was actually didn't even want to look, and his wife came up and said, honey, do you see those guys at the back of the room? He's like, oh, let me look. And he looks, and there's like 10 people. Well, there's like 20 people back there. 10 people signed up for his, it was a $1,000 program. First program out the gate. He made 10 grand that night for a simple little program. And she said, can you do this again? He's like, yeah, I know what to do. I can do this over and over. And boom, he soared to like $1 million that year, 2 million the next, 4 million the next, and I don't even know how many million he's at now. So Sean, like, you can sit and keep playing the fucking game of, yeah, I got to build my tribe first. Yeah, but they have a tribe. Yeah, you've got speaking gigs and the ability to create speaking gigs and 100 other things. A tribe is nice. Yeah, it's nice for Marci and I to have a tribe. Yeah, it's easy now. But it wasn't fucking always there. You think we got here from that, from where we are? We didn't get where we are from where we are. We got there from where the fuck you are. And what it takes is getting your ass out there, believing in yourself, and offering and training and setting up for the next solution. You might go do one speaking gig, Sean. One. Your next speaking gig, if you go in and do it right, you might sign up 10 fucking clients on the spot and have your first group sold out and quit your fucking job. Are you hearing me?
Loud and clear. And I think you were supposed to say that because I didn't put that post up as some kind of excuse or whatever. I think that's what we are doing with Facebook. I hear you twice over.
Awesome.
So, Chris, can I add to that? That what's funny is the guy that Chris is talking about became one of my personal clients. But
Motherfucker.
But he what I want he's the one Chris is talking about, my first big client that I did for $60,000. But what I want you to hear is he was at that level and he was still really broken. He was still like breaking through all his shit. He had so many issues about perceptions about people and holding himself back. And he's, you know, once he shed 100 pounds, like he's the example where someone came to him and said, now I'll join your program. I wouldn't join it before because you were overweight. And so that made me think I couldn't trust you. So even in this broken place, he still had created a lot, and he was operating out of 10% of his power. But it doesn't come from looking for the reasons and excuses. It comes from just saying, what's the result I want? How would I get to do that? Because, yeah, and Chris and I have had this conversation several times where he's like, I was going inside me and being like, man, why the fuck am I blocked with money when that guy who knows hardly anything compared to what I know is doing this, and they have $1 million training organization, all built from just saying, I'm going to take this first thing and teach this. I'm going to take this and teach this. And now they have all these DVDs and trainings on all sorts of things and a huge organization that works for him.
Audios, DVDs, he has like 10 or 20 different trainings, and he's good. He serves so many people and makes a big-ass difference, and yet he's still completely blocked. Marci and or I could still fucking rock his world 100 times over. We've only just touched the tip of the iceberg with the guy. And he's still like so there's not waiting.
Awesome.
Okay, last thing on Matt Ritchie. We did not talk about your one-on-one clients. So Matt, if you just had 3 one-on-one clients at $25,000 a year, and ideally it's $25,000 up front, but if you do chicken out on the up front or choose to take payments, take a good portion up front, 8 or 10 grand up front. So it might be like 10,000 down, and that's 15,000 left divided by 12 months. So like, you know, $1,500 a month. 10,000 down, $1,500 a month.
I'm going to eliminate my
which now you're at $435,000 a year or something, and you're still working part-time. You're making a big-ass difference. You have the lifestyle that you want. You can take care of yourself, your family, travel. It's all mobile, everything. So now a little bit more on the reverse engineering of how this looks. Matt, the price points on this means you only need to sell 3 one-on-one clients this year. So let's say you only close 3% of those, or 30% of those conversations. So that means you get to have 10 high-end sales conversations in the next year to have the high-end one-on-one clients handled. Okay, now your retreats, you're going to have 15 people in those retreats. So if you close 50% of those, you're going to have 30 sales conversations for retreats. For your mastermind program, you're going to only run one program with 8 people. If you close 15% of those, you only need 16 sales conversations for mastermind. And then you're going to run 9 groups of 9, which is 81 people in your front-end program. And if you closed half of those, you're going to need twice as that, which is 162 sales conversations. So your sales conversations for the year is 10 plus 30 is 40, plus 16 is 56, plus 162. 56 plus 162 is 218 sales conversations. Yeah, exactly. Listen to what Jonathan said. He said, act like they're all one-on-one, and then if they don't qualify, downsell them to something else. Say, I've got this program, it's $25,000 a year. $25,000, oh shit! Woo! And then you don't immediately go, no problem, we'll go the lower. You go, well, didn't you say you wanted to solve this problem? I mean, you said your marriage was on the line, your health, your blah, 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 blah. And they might say, yeah, you're right. All right, I'll do it. Or you go, okay, it's just not in your budget, okay, but you see the value, cool. Let's talk about getting you in one of my group programs that'll be more affordable, rock your world, still get you there. It's not quite as fast, not quite as easy, but it'll still get you there really well. You're going to love the group dynamic. It's very supportive. You get as much value out of the group as you do from me, and it's only this much. Okay, that sounds good, because they've already digested the higher number. So now 218 sales conversations, that's about 1 per workday. I don't remember, we had designed, 45 weeks a year, and we had designed 4 days a week that you're going to work. That's 180 days per year. So your 218 sales conversations divided by 180, you've only got to have 1.21 sales conversations per day to make this a reality. So we have those 2 sales conversations a day that we already talked about, and you might double it. And over time, we raise the prices as your confidence and certainty and abilities raise, and you double your income. So you could be at $1 million a year by the end of this year.
Yep. Understand.
And so the reverse engineering that's it. Like you just take, here's where I want to be, what do I got to do to get there? So it's now simple. Okay, 2 hours a day marketing, 2 hours a day selling, 2 hours a day fulfilling, and 2 hours a day admin, plus or minus, and make adjustments as you go. But schedule the shit in, make time for it, get clear on your packaging, and start offering it with confidence and certainty. Everybody breathe that in.
Easy.
Is reverse engineering.
Easy.
Great. Let's call it on that and execute.
Okay, Darren Casey, that was for you too, so enjoy when you watch. Okay, now we've got the rest of the topics with limited time. Our Facebook Messenger, time management, listening skills, breakthrough process. A quick note on the breakthrough process, just take a note on this. Write down FACT, fact, is face, accept, choose, take action. So there's like I say, hundreds of tools and breakthrough processes, and I call on whatever ones happen to surface in the moment that I'm with whoever I'm with, and sometimes ones that I haven't used for a long time pop up, and I'm like, oh, this is perfect for this. So I just allow your toolbox to grow over time. But at the end of the day, every breakthrough process boils down to this process, which is step one, must face what is. This is what is. And get them clear on what is. This is our sales process too. The sales process is a breakthrough process. We have them face what is. Two, we have them accept responsibility for what is. Oh, can you see how you created this? Oh, you mean she's not to blame, he's not to blame, they're not to blame, he's not to blame, God's not to blame, life's not to blame, I'm responsible? Interesting. Got it. So once they accept responsibility for that, then you have them choose. Okay, well, we're clear where you're at. We're clear that you created that. So do you want to keep creating that, or do you want to choose something else? Well, I'd like to choose something else. Cool. And if I were to add something here, it would be commit right after choose. But for the sake of the acronym, we're just going to make choose and commit be the same thing. Because to truly choose, you actually do commit. Otherwise, you're just interested, not committed. So you choose what you really want, and then you commit to it, and then you take action. So with your clients, it's super simple. Even if you knew nothing else but this, you say, okay, and you got on the call. So you got on and you're going to do a coaching call. You're like, there's the trainings where you're just going to train your content on your 4 pillars like you already know how to do. But then when you get on your mastermind group and you're doing the coaching, you can just repeat this process over and over. You can say, okay, Jim, tell me, where are you at this week? Well, I'm doing fine. Fine, what does that mean? Well, things seem to be pretty good. Pretty good, what does that mean? Well, overall, pretty good. All right, so tell me about your relationship. Well, it's good. Okay, scale of 1 to 10. What is it? Oh, a 6. A 6. Is that good enough? Are you fucking status quo? You happy with mediocrity? Or like, what the fuck? What do you mean? Fine, good. Why are you avoiding this shit? Do you want to have something good or not? Something epic? Something amazing? How good can you stand it? Well, yeah, I'd like it better. Well, okay, tell me, what the fuck is actually happening in your relationship? Are you having as much sex as you want? Are you getting along? Are you communicating clearly? Are things working? Okay, now tell me about your health, your whatever, and dig, find, and help them face where they're really at. And then help them accept responsibility. Okay, so that's what you're currently creating and currently committed to based on results. We can see what you're committed to because we can see the results. Well, shit, if you put it that way, yeah. Okay, well, is that the results you want? No. Well, what results would you want? How would you like your relationship to be? How would you like your health to be? What's the next thing for you? Well, this. Perfect. Okay, are you choosing and committing to create that? Yeah, okay. By when? What will you do? What's the next smallest action you can take to move towards that? And by when will you take that? Perfect. Great job, Jim. All right, Mike, you're up. Seriously, guys, you can have a coaching program just off of fucking being present and listening and being willing to dig and have them face and accept and choose and commit to action. You can build a whole program just around that. So all your ideas about my certifications and my knowledge and what will I teach, out the window. So let that be all that we're going to share right now on breakthrough process. Morris, resistance.
You just did it.
What's that?
You just did exactly what you do when you face resistance.
Yeah, there we go.
You got the 5 steps, Morris. Just fucking use it.
Yes. And wonder questions. So, like, what is this really about? What is this resistance really about? And, get to the root of that. Is it that I'm scared of success? Is it that I'm scared of failure? Is it that I'm hitting my upper limits? Is it that I don't feel worthy? Is that I have some underlying belief that it must be hard and I can't have it that good, that fast, that easy? Is it, what's actually going on? And then once you discover that, go further. Okay, now that I realize that and I faced what is and accepted that this is what I'm creating and how I'm creating it, what do I really want? Well, I want it to be easy and prosperous and fun and fulfilling, and then commit and take action. Now, the other things to look at is it may not be in your zone of genius. It may be that, well, this does need to get done, but it's not something I'm passionate or alive about, so really I need to quit being a tight ass, hire someone to delegate this to, and focus my energy where I kick ass. So Morris, I have a loan officer I'm working with right now. I bring this up because you do mortgages. So I have a mortgage dude I'm working with right now. I had him cough up and go hire and guided him through the process of getting an assistant. And now his assistant is handling all the logistical end of mortgages, and he's just doing the parts that he does best that make him all the money. And I guarantee you, just like when I was in the sales business for someone else, I hired an assistant that did all the shit that consumed all my stupid time, and I just did the stuff, the closes, and I was seriously outdoing 20 people put together on that floor. 20 people, just by me implementing new systems that put me on the phone 24/7, every call, all day. All I did was have quality conversations, sales conversations, with quality leads that were qualified because of the systems I set up with my assistant to pre-screen and schedule all those, versus everyone else was scheduling all of their own, spending half their time scheduling, half their time talking to unqualified leads just to find out they were unqualified and all this other shit. So they would spend most of their day wasting time and energy, and I would be like closing, bam, 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 all day long. I would close more every day and every week than 20 other people all put together. So same thing applies, and I'm applying this with one of my one-on-one clients. He's a mortgage dude. He's got an assistant now who handles all this stupid shit, and he just does the stuff that makes money. His assistant costs him $8.25 an hour plus bonuses based on numbers. And he's, just watch. I'll tell you the numbers as we go. I don't know for sure what they're going to be, but you watch. He's going to quadruple his numbers, or it's going to be huge. And so part of that, and the reason why I share that, is delegate the shit you don't love to do. And then there might be some underlying shit like fear of failing like you have in the past, or fear of facing struggle like you have in the past, or some other underlying thing. So look at genius, look at delegation around genius, and look at fears of failure or success or things from the past. See if there's just a breakthrough you get to have around it, or if it's just a shift in how you're handling the situation. If there's more you need on that, post on the board, or more you want. And use the power of those wonder questions to help you break through. Jonathan, you posted a great question that I wanted to answer. Let me see. What do you do when a client feels their feelings and uncovers tons of stuff and you don't have time to do the work on each of them? Jonathan, don't do the work on them. Mm-hmm. The purpose of uncovering their shit is to get them to realize, good Lord, I've got a lot of shit, and if I don't solve this, it's going to really suck. And so your point, yeah, you might solve it enough and call them out on their shit enough. So you notice Marci didn't say, well, what you need to do is communicate this way. Let me teach you this really cool communication skill. This will turn stuff around with your wife and help you fall back in love with her. She didn't do that. What she said was, listen, douchebag, you're being an idiot. And you're either going to sort this shit out and quit trying to make her happy and have her make you happy and then go recreate this shit with someone else, or you're going to sort this shit out and actually be happy and keep your shit together and save all this heartache. So she didn't give him, she could have given him the solution right there, or part of the solution. She couldn't have solved it all for him in one call, because it's deeper than that. That's like thinking you can get six-pack abs in one coaching session, right? There's mindsets and skill sets and accountability and ongoing support and all these other factors involved. So it's stupid to think that I'm going to sit here and break through, and then somehow sell them. It's more like, let me point to you the gap. The problem is you don't have the communication skills. The problem is that you're not communicating right. The problem is you got the wrong mindset around this. See, like you think that you're going to find someone to make you happy? Seriously? That's part of the problem. Are you stupid? Like, that's kind of rough, but you're kind of talking that way and helping them to see or guiding them to see, and it's way less about doing the work there on the sales call. It's more like, yes, see, can you see that the problem lies right here? Can you see how you're looking at it this way and that's costing you that? Could you see how this would happen if you keep with that? And then, cool, so are you ready to solve this? Yeah, I'm ready to solve it. Perfect. So let's talk about my program and how we're going to do that. Jonathan, does that answer and switch something for you? Oh, it's a client, not a sales call. So the client uncovers tons of stuff and you don't have time to do the work on each of them. So this is a hero persona and also a persona of this is my chance. I got to go all the way. I got to give them everything. I got to be the best. There's some other shit going on in there for you. So look at personas around it and know that you don't need to break them through all their shit right there. And most of the time it's not about what it appears to be about. Like in an argument with a spouse, between spouses, they may be arguing about whether the toilet paper roll goes over and under, and that's not what the argument's about. It's not at all what the argument's about. The real issue is like some control issues and some know-it-all issues and some other personas and shit going on, right? So same thing here. Whatever they're bringing up and uncovering all these million things, just hone it in, pick what's most relevant and ties to all of it, and help them have a big-ass breakthrough there, and know that you'll have another session and another session, and we're not trying to build Rome overnight. Okay, you got it? Did that help? Perfect. Brian Erickson, I will post the drift list and shift list and learning cycle as resources on the board, so you'll have access to those. Ultimately, it's a matter of mastering the ability to shift from the drift. So I'll get that posted. Just taking a note here real quick. Listening skills, we're out of time now, so I might do the quick version. Marci, anything else you want to share? Do we want to wrap this up now? Try to squeeze a few more things in? What do you want to do?
I say we wrap, because to effectively get into listening skills, that could be a whole nother call too. And I mean, we really dug deep into reverse engineering today, and even you threw in the bonuses of trying to hit some other things people are asking. And this is why you're here every week. So go fucking execute. See how easy it is to create your why, reverse engineer, and see how simple it is. Like Brian's already got his plan right here, ready to like set up advertising, marketing for a mastermind, filling a mastermind, and boom, you're done. Sent out and done. Awesome.
Good talk today, brother. Thank you.
Great call, guys.
Love you guys. Go kick some ass. Lock it down. And loves and ass grabs.
Later.